Hey y'all, it's me Cecilia, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry if I looked a little disheveled, I just woke up from a nap. I wanted to come to you guys here with my August TBR. So, what? I already did that. My July wrap up. Wow, I'm still groggy. So in July I read 18 books, which is the best reading month I've ever freaking had in my life. I don't know, all I wanted to do in July was read, and which is insane because it is August, what, 8th, and I have not finished a book. So in terms of like genres, I read 3 contemporaries, 7 mangas, 1 romance, 1 nonfiction, 4 graphic novels, and 2 fantasy. So I'm just gonna go through in the order that I read them because I can. I'm also not gonna hold up like any books for 2 reasons. 1, because I don't own most of these books, and 2, it's because I'm moving and all of my books are packed up right now. First book I had read was Watch Us Rise by Renee Watson and Ellen Hagen. I gave this 5 stars. This book is so freaking good. We follow Jasmine and Chelsea. They are best friends and they are very passionate about like art and being creative. Chelsea is a poet while Jasmine is more of an actress and a writer. Basically, Chelsea felt like she had to leave her poetry club because all they wanted to talk about were like old rich white guys, while Jasmine actually faced some bullying in her drama club, and so they decided to start their own club just talking about women's rights and women's issues. And it's so amazing. This book, I can understand why some people might like it because it's not very social justice-y, but I know Chelsea first. It's kind of one of those characters. If you like Elena from One Day at a Time, you will love this book because I feel like Chelsea and Elena are like cut from the same cloth. This book was just so interesting. I really liked all of the characters. There was a hint of a little subplot romance, which I really enjoyed. There was some hard-hitting stuff. I cried a little bit in this book, and I was not expecting to. It was just so good. I also had the book signed by both of the authors, and I met both of them earlier this year, which was so amazing, and I was so happy that I was able to do that. And it's such a good book. Y'all need to go read it. Please, please do that. Next book I read was Mikami Got Killed Volume 1, and this was pretty interesting actually. What I believe this book is about, it's been a hot minute since I read it, but basically our main character, he and his friends are from this one village that are starving and are not doing very well financially, so they go to the capital in order to make money, and some shit goes down. His friends die, and he ends up becoming part of this I'm gonna call it an assassin squad, but basically a part of like these assassins that kill very important people, and that's basically what the series is about. And I really like this first episode. I heard the anime is pretty good as well. I'm going to continue reading the manga because that's what's currently interesting me, but I really enjoyed it. I got this from the library and I think it's a great one. Alright, next one I read was The Prince and the Dressmaker. This is a graphic novel and it was so cute. You're going to see like a running theme through this month. I read a lot of queer royal romances, like don't ask me why. A lot of princess and princesses. It was a moment I had this month. But this book, I think I gave it 5 stars. I don't know why. I don't know. I do know why, but we have our main character, Prince Sebastian, and I don't know, there's not a specific words of pronouns or if he's, like, you know, we don't know, so I'm just gonna say they. So they are a prince in this kingdom, and they have to, of course, be very princely during the day, but at night they like to dress up as a woman, wear dresses, and just go out and have fun. Feels like a princess, basically. I think that is what their actual term is that they have moments where sometimes they feel like a prince, sometimes they feel like a princess. I think. Don't hold that to me. So they hire a seamstress from the city who makes these wonderful, beautiful dresses, and they have a little bit of a romance, and it's super freaking cute. I really like this. I think the only complaint is that it it kind of lacks substance. Like, even if I think about it now, I don't remember much about this book other than the end, but that's really it. I couldn't even remember the characters' names. But yeah, it just lacks a little bit of substance, but I do think it's a fun, enjoyable read. It didn't take me long to finish, so if you need this for a readathon, or if you just want to read it, I think it'll be great. Okay, next one is Ultra Maniac Volume 1. Now, this is a weird manga, but I really enjoyed it, and I want to read all of the books since there's only 5 volumes in the series, but I cannot find the volumes anywhere except thrift books. It's not available on Bookwalker, not available on Amazon, not available, well, I don't want to buy from Amazon anyways, but that's a whole separate video. Not available, like, anywhere, so, except thrift books, so I'll have to get them from there. But basically, this is kind of, if you've read Flying Witch, I think you would like this book as well, because this has an element of a brand new witch. She comes into the school, kind of like an exchange program, because she's failing her classes at the Witch University, and it would just be easier to come into like a regular human school and learn human things. And she befriends the most popular girl in school, Ayu. It's like she's trying to be very popular to impress this one boy that she really likes. She's also on the tennis team, and shenanigans ensues. It's very shenanigan-y. Nina the witch, I didn't say what her name was, but Nina always is just causing trouble, always trying to grant wishes for Ayu, and it always ends badly. But it's entertaining. It's an entertaining read, so I think this is really fun, and if you can get a copy of this somewhere, I think y'all would like it. Next book I read was Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins, and I originally gave it a 3-star, but like, I don't know how to rate this because I enjoyed it, but it's one of those, okay, I'm just gonna not say my rating, I'm just gonna say what I feel. So we have our main character, Millie. She is from Texas, and she has been dreaming about Scotland, going to Scotland, staying at this one boarding school, and just because she is very nerdy, she really likes rocks and geology, and she really wants to pursue that. And since Scotland is very naturey, there's lots of hills and shit, okay? One day, she sees her girlfriend kiss her ex-boyfriend, and she's like, yeah, no, fuck this shit, I'm going to go, all expenses paid, to this one boarding school. So she goes to the boarding school, and she meets a roommate, and her and roommate hate each other, but she finds out her roommate is the Princess of Scotland. And so it turns kind of into like it's an enemies to lovers romance, and it's really good. I gotta say, if you're gonna go into this, my biggest recommendation is, if for you to love it, you need to suspend your disbelief. I know this is like a contemporary romance, but you need to suspend your disbelief, because there are some things in this book that happen that would never fucking happen in real life. Like, I'm going to include a little spoilery section right here. When the book goes away is when the spoiler section will end. But there's a point in the middle of this book where Millie and Flora are basically, are part of like the challenge where they have to go survive in the wilderness for like 3 days. So they go, and of course you're partnered with your roommate, So they're dropped off, and Flora does the dumbest shit in the fucking world. Flora, like, literally makes them lose their bags on purpose, and then has a moment where they see a stag. I believe it was a stag. And she was literally like, oh, well, stags are like the royalty of Scotland, and since I'm royalty of Scotland, like, we get each other and it won't attack us. And I'm just sitting here like, what? And she's saying this all seriously, right? Like, this is no joke. And of course the stag attacks them, and I was just sitting here like, what, bitch, what? But which kind of hurt it for me, but once I finished reading the book, I had to realize that once you suspend your disbelief. I really enjoyed reading it. I thought this was really fun. I really liked Millie as a character. I do really like this. It was a nice, I wouldn't say it's more summery. I felt more like a fall read, because in Scotland it was like raining all the time and felt kind of gloomy, but I don't know. It was just a really enjoyable book, and I really recommend this one. Alright, next one's gonna be controversial, but it's fine. I read Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I originally gave this 3.5 stars, but I kind of want to dump it down to 2.5 stars. I don't know if I'm gonna rate this. But if you don't know what Red, White, and Royal Blue is about, this book, basically, we have, oh my god, I already forgot the names of the characters. That's how unforgettable this book was to me. Oh my god. Alex is the son to the first female president of the United States. And he despises Prince Henry from England. Yeah. Who is the king of England? Who's like a prince in England. And they are forced, because of this whole international incident that they had with spilling over a cake, which was stupid, by the way, but whatever. They are forced to be fake friends and slowly become lovers. My issue with this book, it was fun to an extent. I thought it was way too long. You could have easily cut out 100 pages from this book. I found Alex and Henry's relationship unbelievable for the first half of the book. It felt a lot like Alex's obsession and nothing from Henry. It felt very one-sided. I feel like this book could have been a lot better if this was a dual perspective novel, because there's a lot of moments where you really needed Henry's perspective in order to actually believe their romance and believe that Alex wasn't going crazy. And it just hurt the book for me. I couldn't get into it because of that reason. The writing was not, I was not a huge fan of the writing, and the sex scenes were questionable. They were not, I didn't find them hot. Who is screaming? This was the Page Dwellers book club pick for July. I will leave the live show linked up above. That was on Sarah's channel. All of us that were there had similar feelings. Like, we didn't full on love the book, but we didn't hate it. So we were just talking about that. And we go in a little bit into spoilers just to preface that. But yeah, Red, White, and Royal Blue. It was okay. Not very memorable. So next, I'm going to talk about these 3 manga in succession because they're all in the same series. So I read All Out Volume 2, 3, and 4 on ebook. Basically, they're kind of like just sports anime. They're rugby, or centered on rugby. And I found it very interesting. There's a new character that was introduced that I really liked. Their coach. And he was super interesting and funny, I felt like. If you're wanting to get into the series, I really enjoy it. If you don't know anything about rugby, that's totally okay. It goes through and talks about the rules and the setups and everything about rugby, but without beating your head over the bush. Like, it's not only about that part of rugby. So if you don't know anything about it, you'll learn, but it won't just take up the entire narrative if you already know about rugby. So I think it's really interesting and fun, and I watched a couple of episodes of the anime when it came out, either last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it's fun. It's an enjoyable time, especially when I just want some sports-ness in my life. So yeah. Next one is Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in Silicon Valley by John Carreyrou. I gave this 5 stars. This was such a great book. So this is a nonfiction book. A couple of booktubers have talked about this book and raved about it, so I had to pick it up once it was available on my Libby app. So this basically talks about the whole story revolving around Theranos. So if you don't know what Theranos is, Theranos was a company in Silicon Valley that basically lied about the technology that they had, saying that they had this revolutionary technology that was able to detect all of these different kinds of illnesses in just a very small blood sample. But it couldn't really do that. It barely even functioned, and they had this whole scheme set up with tricking all their investors and all of the public. And this was so fascinating. This nonfiction is written in a way that's very easy to digest. As someone, since the technology is more scientific and technological, as someone who, I enjoy science, but I don't know a lot about the medical field, but the way that John Carreyrou phrased it he phrased it in a way that was, I'm going to say dummy proof. Basically, I was able to understand pretty much everything he talked about, which was nice. It didn't feel too info dumpy, and it felt really real. At some points I was like, oh shit, this is really thrilling. And it made me really interested about the people who are involved, since this is all real. And I listened to this on audiobook, and I highly recommend you do that. It was just so engaging, and John Carreyrou, I believe he narrates the book, so it was just so interesting. Probably one of my favorite nonfiction books I've ever read. I really recommend this book. Y'all need to go read this bitch. Now the next 7 books I read for the reading rush. So this is my, which I've already talked about, so I'm not going to talk about these books too much since I had my reading vlog about it. So I'm just going to briefly talk about these ones. So next I have 96 Words for Love by Rachel Roy and Ava Dash. I gave this 1 star. I have a rant review on my channel. I really didn't like it. Go watch that rant review if you want more information. Next book I read was Bounty Volume 1, and I really enjoyed this. I thought, well, I put Volume 1, but I don't know if it's a Volume 1 or if it's the only volume, but I really hope I get more in this world and of these characters. It's like a sci-fi graphic novel, and the art style is very beautiful. It's just really interesting. If you want more of my thoughts, go watch my reading vlog. I don't know, I'm blanking right now. Next book I read was An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I can tell you right now, I think I'm 2 or 3 hours away from finishing the audiobook of A Sorcery of Thorns, and I think Margaret Rogerson's going to be an autobiography author for me, and that's very rare to have an autobiography author for me. The only, I guess, autobiography authors I have currently are Jennifer L. Nielsen, because I love her writing, and so far Margaret Rogerson. I love her writing as well, and I think she writes fantasy standalones very well. I remember when I first saw this book came out, this book had very mixed opinions, but I found this book very interesting. I really liked her main character. Also, this was the first Fae book I have ever read, and I learned so much about the Fae, and it was very interesting to see all of that stuff because I haven't read The Cooler Prince. It's on my radar. I think I have it checked out from Libby at the moment, so maybe that'll be in the next audiobook I read. But this book was very engaging. I really liked the romance, and I really liked all the characters that were present in the story.